So as far as the joint glides, for your joint glide assessment, so we'll do just the assessment first. If you're going to bend the knee, if you're trying to get full knee flexion, then we essentially need the posterior glide of the tibia on the femoral condyles, okay? Because you have the concavity on the convexity. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a posterior glide of the tibia on the femur in order to gain your flexion. Okay? So you bring them up to the flexion limitation, and right at the flexion limitation, one hand stabilizes, one hand mobilizes. So you put your stability hand on the femur, and you put your mobilizing hand on the tibia. So I align my forearm in line to be able to get my direction of force. I stabilize from here. I have the headlights facing in the direction that I'm going to mobilize, so the ASIS is facing in the direction I'm going to mobilize. I create my stability. I now create a firm connection between my body and my arm, and as I weight shift forward, I can induce that posterior glide of the tibia. Okay, that's all it is. And you're doing it to get a sense of the glide, and then if you turn it into treatment, then you can grade it from your grade 1s to 4. For extension, so if you're trying to get into full extension, as you're trying to extend the patient, they get as far as they can go. Oh, yeah, that's right. So typically a towel is better because you're trying to get your full extension, but these, you can just get the air out of the pillows. So you're trying to get your patient into full extension. So in order to get to full extension, you need the tibia to come anteriorly. But to get that full extension, it's the screw home mechanism. So you need the tibia to come anteriorly, but you need it to externally rotate. So you can stabilize on the femur and get behind the tibia and pull it anteriorly. If it's a larger restriction where you're here, all right, then that could be a good technique to be able to pull that tibia anteriorly. But if you're close to full extension, you're lacking the last 5 degrees or so, you could also do a reverse mob, where you're actually pushing the femoral condyle posteriorly. So you could do the whole thing, but we're going to show how if you push the whole femur posteriorly, it's a gapping technique. So to gain the last 5 to 10 degrees of full extension, you can bias your mobilization to the medial condyle of the femur. So I'm still going to have a stability hand. I'm stabilizing the tibia. I have the towel underneath the tibia to help to stabilize it. I am positioning my thenar eminence over the medial condyle of the femur, and then I'm doing a posterior glide. I'm biasing my posterior glide on the medial so that I can get that condyle backwards, which will induce that full screw home mechanism into knee extension. Okay? So I'm almost following the closed chain mechanics, even though I'm doing an open chain glide right now. Okay? All right, so let's start with those, practicing those. So have a patient, have a therapist. Thank you.